Storm-battered California gets more wind, rain and snow. Late-ill senator's wife discusses therapeutic decision to carry out his term in office after abrupt death. Miss USA Rabani Gabriel wins Miss Universe competition. UFO reports in US rise to 510. The next time someone is rude to you, she has a few ways for how you can put them in their place. Document discovery differences divide House GOP and Democrats. Representative Omar, GLAD, special counsel appointed over Biden classified docs, should be taken serious. She said it should be taken seriously and should be investigated.
This is breaking news.
I'm Erin Burnett in Washington.
Storm-battered California gets more wind, rain and snow. A new weather system with rain, snow, and strong winds moved into storm-lashed California on Saturday, the latest in a parade of atmospheric rivers that have wreaked havoc across the state in recent weeks. While next week should bring some respite, the first of two systems expected to hit California over the weekend pushed onshore Saturday, unleashing more heavy rain, the National Weather Service said. Atmospheric rivers rarely seen in such frequent succession have pounded the Golden State since December 26, killing at least 19 people and bringing floods, power outages, mudslides, evacuations and road closures. More than 24,000 utility customers were without power as of Saturday afternoon, according to poweroutage.us. The storms have dropped half the average annual rainfall on the agricultural Central Valley and as much as 4.5 meters of snow in the mountains. Flood advisories were in effect across the state on Saturday, and thousands of residents were under evacuation orders and warnings. A neighborhood in the Santa Cruz County community of Felton in Central California flooded for the second time in a week and the third time since the turn of the year. Residents banded together, helping one another with shovels and squeegees to clean out garages and driveways. To go through it a third time, it's just defeating, said Caitlin Clancy, 36, as she shoveled mud on her driveway. Sacramento County issued an evacuation order for Wilton and other areas that had suffered severe flooding during a New Year's Eve storm. A levee breach in the Bear Creek area of Merced in the San Joaquin Valley flooded homes and stranded animals, according to local media, as officials worked to prevent high waters from overflowing. At least 7 waterways were officially flooded, the California Department of Water Resources said Friday. California Governor Gavin Newsom said at a news conference Saturday, these weather events have taken more lives in the last 2 years than wildfires. That's how deadly they are. U.S. President Joe Biden approved an emergency declaration for California on Saturday. Biden ordered federal aid to supplement state, tribal, and local recovery efforts in the areas affected by severe winter storms, flooding, landslides, and mudslides, the White House said in a statement. The president's action makes federal funding available to affected individuals in Merced, Sacramento, and Santa Cruz counties, it said. In the mountains of the Sierra Nevada, heavy snow and strong winds brought whiteout conditions in some areas that prompted road closures. Snowfall in the Sierras had topped half a meter as of Saturday morning, with about 3 meters already on the ground and a few more expected, according to the University of California Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab. The California storms have mitigated but not solved the region's drought. The U.S. Drought Monitor on Thursday revised its assessment to lift virtually all the state out of extreme drought or exceptional drought, the two worst categories, though much of it is still considered to be suffering moderate or severe drought. Late-ill senator's wife discusses therapeutic decision to carry out his term in office after abrupt death. After years of watching her husband work as an Illinois state senator, Dr. Stacey Bennett absorbed plenty of knowledge about the legislative process. But when she was asked to assume her husband's position after he unexpectedly died last month, it was still quite the adjustment. It's totally different sitting in that seat, Stacey tells People, reflecting on her emotional journey to put a bow on her husband of 20 years' public service career. Taking over not only meant studying up on where Senator Scott Bennett left off, but doing so while juggling responsibilities as a parent to their young twins, Sam and Emma. Finishing his term certainly complicated things, she says, but it was an important thing for me to do to provide closure to that part of our lives. News about Scott's sudden death last month, just 2 weeks before the holidays, sent shockwaves throughout Illinois politics, and took the lawmakers' friends and family by surprise. The 45-year-old politician was abruptly admitted to the hospital on Thursday, December 8, where doctors discovered a large tumor on his brain. By the next afternoon, the family announced his death. Condolences poured in from both sides of the aisle, as state lawmakers praised their late Democratic colleague not only as a loving husband and devoted father, but as a disarming and particularly compassionate politician. Scott was incredibly smart and funny, yet completely humble, Stacey says. He captured any room he entered by making people laugh, often a self-deprecating joke, and making them feel at ease. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker called Scott a good man who always operated with the best interest of his constituents in mind and said, "The entire state is a better place because of him." Stacey says she recognized those qualities in Scott soon after getting to know him more than 2 decades ago. The Bennetts found love the way any political couple might dream of, working at the White House. Scott and I met while interning in the Clinton administration, Stacey says, working side by side as they opened and logged gifts sent to the first family. They married in 2002, and had twins in 2013. He loved our kids and just loved spending time with them, Stacey says. Our ideal day was camping out in the living room and watching college football games together. After Scott's death, family friend Mike Ingram, the chair of their local Champaign County Democratic Party, asked Stacey if she'd carry the baton and finish the last weeks of Scott's term, ending in mid-January. At first, Stacey laughed at Ingram's idea. She was already navigating the difficult task of caring for twins as a newly single parent, but adding public office on top of that was another story. "I have a master's and doctorate degree focusing on public policy, plus years of discussions with Scott, so I thought I was knowledgeable," Stacey says, but there's an enormous amount of pressure making decisions that impact the entire state. Yet, she had seen up close the pride that comes with making policies to better constituents' lives, so she convinced herself to more seriously consider Ingram's proposal. For days before Christmas, and less than 2 weeks after Scott's death, Stacey was sworn into office, becoming the newest Senator Bennett to represent Illinois' 52nd District. The conference room ceremony took place without much fanfare, aside from a local news camera and a selfie with Ingram. "She's such an incredible person and I'm so happy that she was amenable to this idea to honor Scott's legacy and also her own," Ingram wrote on Instagram. "Having the person who he trusted the most fill in and cast the last votes of this term feels like the best way to do this." Stacey has now completed her time in office, made possible thanks to family and friends at home who watched the twins while she carried out his work. She also credits a bipartisan family of lawmakers for guiding her in the Senate day-to-day and giving her the lifelong honor of sharing in her husband's legacy. "Finishing Scott's term was therapeutic not only for me, but for his colleagues as well," she says, now back home. His colleagues were so warm and welcoming and interested in continuing his legacy. This week, Stacey handed Scott's seat in the Illinois State House over to newly elected State Senator Paul Faraci, a local official from their hometown who was on a short list of candidates she and Scott once made to ensure his work would carry on in case he ever wanted to retire.